Hey guys, it's Niklas here from upgradeToLife.com, and in this video we are going to talk about your life reflects your chosen state of consciousness. And wait, I know you've watched most probably a lot of my videos on YouTube so far, and you now say, oh, I already know this is nothing new. I know that my state of being, my state of consciousness, my identity, my self-concept is the most important thing, so what is new in this video? First of all, when you already know this, then it's very good. For those of you who are new to this, definitely watch this. But also, if you already know my channel and my contents and you follow me on Instagram, stay with me, because in this video I will reveal and talk about some very important quotes by Neville so that you get an even better understanding of your state and why this reflects why your life reflects your chosen state, and again why this is so important, right? The state that you occupy. And also, please don't be confused or don't misinterpret this in a wrong way, because state is very simple. It's just the role you play. It's just the identity you have, right? It's the answer to the question, who are you? That determines in which state you are. So let's jump into this video and let's discover together why this is so important to really understand, so that you can start to focus more on your internal world, more on the states that you occupy, and entertain and accept and assume to be true, rather than looking at what is and say, oh yeah, this is how things are, and that means I cannot change my life. And I made a video for this, the life cycle. Check this out, very important. But before I do entertainment, let's jump in this video, right? So here are the quotes, and there are some of them, and I'm always giving my comments to them. So sit quietly and ask yourself, who are you? Where are you? What are you? Your answers will reveal your state of consciousness, your body of belief, right? That is how Neville described it. So your state is being the body of assumptions and belief and assumptions and like things that you accept to be true. That combined is like, we can call this just a state. So when you shift into a state of being, for example, successful, you just occupy successful, whatever in detail that this means to you, then therefore you'll have entertained different thoughts, different beliefs, do different actions, and see different results, get different results and manifestations only based on that state. Things are very automatic when you shift into a new state. And Neville always said that this is actually the only thing we have free will to choose, our state of being, our self-concept, our state. But all the time we are in a state, and therefore things play out depending on a state. But 95% of your day, you're just unconsciously or just doing things basically from your subconscious mind. You're not really thinking, now I'm doing this, now I'm doing this. You're just being led to do things. You're always on the bridge. So first of all, right, this is clear. When you ask yourself those questions, they reveal where you are in consciousness, which states you have occupied, what you believe to be true. And any modification within your body of belief will result in a change in your outer world. So any shift into a new state of consciousness, any shift into a new identity, into a new self-concept, when you change that, right? When you conceive yourself to now be different than you were before, that will lead to a change in your world, in your circumstances, and will lead you to get the manifestations that you want. So where there is no imagination, everything vanishes. If lack is now in your world, and you cease to be aware of it by imagining plenty, lack disappears. Therefore, any modification in your body of beliefs will cause a change in your life. Although I'm living here, and here comes like an example, like a story from Neville, where he explained how he actually also got a better understanding and discovered this whole law. And he said, although I'm living here in Los Angeles, I desire to be in New York City. Right? He's in Los Angeles, and his desire is to be in New York. While lying on my bed tonight, I close my physical eyes to the room surrounding me and assume I'm in New York City. Then I ask myself these questions. If I were now in New York City, what would I see? What would I think of Los Angeles? Or would I think of Los Angeles as 3,000 miles to the west of me? Where are my friends and loved ones? How are my finances now that I'm here? I made a video called Assumptions Hardened into Fact. I also highly recommend this because this is related to this. So what he does is very simple, right? He just imagines himself and assuming himself in his imagination to already be in New York now, and then he asks himself the question, what would I think? What would I see? How would I see my friends if I were now in New York? Because I would see them completely differently. I would know that they were now in another city when I am already there right now. So when I'm imagining myself right now to be in a completely new city, and I would ask myself, how would my friends see me? I would know, oh, yeah, they know that I'm not in their city, that I'm very far away from them. You see, those internal shifts are very powerful, and you can ask yourself those questions to start to shift into this state, exactly what Neville explained here. So someone looking at my physical body would see me sleeping in Los Angeles, right? Remember, that is where he's currently living. And when he closes his eyes and you would look at Neville sitting there, sleeping there, you would say, yeah, like he's in Los Angeles. Yet I would be sleeping in New York City, for I am all imagination and I must be where I am imagining myself to be. Key fact, key point, key realization. I must be where I am imagining myself to be. Because where you imagine yourself to be, you are there at this moment. This is real for you. Your consciousness is the only reality, right? Your imagination is not a tool. What you experience in your imagination, you are there right now. This is at this point of time, that is at this given moment, your only reality, because you're experiencing it. It is real. It is objective experience that you have. So by this action, I'm adjusting myself imaginatively to a state I desire to objectively realize. And if I have imagined with conviction, by giving New York City all the sensory vividness of reality, things will immediately begin to happen to compel me to make the journey. I do not imagine lightly anymore because I know every imaginal act will come to pass. Very important, right? So he says, imagination must be where my imagination. By this action, I'm adjusting myself imaginatively to this state, which means right now he's in the state of I'm in Los Angeles, but through his imagination, he puts himself to the state, how would it be like, right? Ask yourself the question, what would it be like if it were already true? Exactly what Neville did here. So by asking himself this question, he put himself into the state of how would it be like to be in New York? And then he knows that therefore when he is in this state and he imagined it probably basically, that things will immediately begin to happen. Circumstances will shift. He will be led through a bridge of incidents to actually encounter and be finally in New York. And he doesn't, I like this the last part very much, because he said, I do not imagine lightly anymore because I know every imaginal act will come to pass. I won't put a comment on this, just think about it. When I first stumbled upon this principle, I thought it was stupid, right? So when he learned the law of assumption and stuff like that, and he thought this is stupid. The idea that imagination creates reality was nonsense. How could anyone believe a thing into being without any external evidence to support it? How could any imaginal act be causative fact, which fuses and projects itself? I imagined and got that which I did not want. Let me see if this makes sense or if I have copied this in the wrong way. But first of all, let's talk about the first part because it's super important, right? When I first stumbled upon this principle, I thought I was stupid. The idea that imagining creates reality was nonsense. How could anyone believe a thing into being without any external evidence to support it? How could this be true, right? So how could anyone believe a thing into being? Believe it in is what Neville always said. Like, you believe it in because you have this faith of this unseen reality, right? Faith. I made a video called Faith, the Only Requirement. And how could that be true without any external evidence, right? He also had some doubts about this. He also was not sure that this is true. How could any imaginal act be the causative fact which fuses and projects itself I imagined and got that which I did not want. So sorry for the last part. I don't get this right now, but we can ignore this. It's not really important. But this is very important, right? The first part. When I first stumbled upon this principle, I thought I was stupid. I have this quote 2 times in here. Sorry guys for that. Consciousness is the resurrecting power, resurrecting that which man is conscious of being. Man is ever outpicturing that which he is conscious of being. Super important. This is the truth that makes man free, for man is always self-imprisoned or self-freed. Okay? So your consciousness, your imagination is the resurrecting power within yourself, which enables you to die to an old state, to die to an old identity, to your current and old circumstance that you don't like, and resurrect yourself in this new state of being, this new state of consciousness, where you have the things that you want and all the version of yourself that you want to be. So, and this is so important, is that your consciousness is always outpicturing that your world is always outpicturing what you hold to be true, accept to be true within yourself. It is an I, and that is what actually this image means that you saw on the thumbnail, and that is on some of Neville's like book covers, like his insignia, and it means that it's an I imposed upon a heart, which in turn is imposed upon a tree laden with fruit, meaning that which you are conscious of being and accept as true, you are going to realize. As a man thinketh in his heart, so he is. So this has nothing to do with emotions or with feelings. It's whatever you are conscious of being and accept to be true, right? You have this inner conviction, this knowing that, yep, this is true for me because you have experienced it within consciousness. You know that your imagination is real. Watch this video that I did about how to imagine the right way. You are going to realize, as a man thinking in his heart, it's not as what you feel, the emotions that you have. As a man thinking in his heart is what you accept and assume to be true within your imagination. Heart stands in this metaphor, like in this sentence, for your consciousness and in your imagination. So he is. Right? Deep down within yourself, what you accept and hold to be true. Having experienced a state and moved into another one, you may think the former state has ceased to be. But all states are eternal. They remain forever. Like a mental traveler that you pass through states, either wittingly or unwittingly. Okay, so when you shift into a state and you know that the state that you occupy determines your life in any given area of your life, then you also have to know that when you shift out of unloving state into a new one, that the old is not dead. And when you're unconscious, it is very easy to move back into this old state and therefore get the old circumstances back, see the same circumstances, because you're doing it unwittingly. So you're never, that the states, they remain eternally, like Neville said. They're there all the time, only waiting for you to be occupied, so you never diminish or, destroy a state. It's there all the time remaining. You can move into many states and play many parts. When you are rich, you are the same actor as when you are poor. These are only different parts you are playing and you can't choose to play, right? Watch my video I did on the game of life, and that is super awesome explanation here, because you really play parts. You really play a part, and you can consciously choose which part you want to play by realizing that it is only a part, that it is only a state that you can occupy. When you like it, go for it. Awesome. Obviously, do it. Why not? It's amazing. I'm currently playing my role as a mentor, as a coach, as someone who teaches the stuff, who explains those principles. That is currently my role. But I know deep down that my true identity, that my true self is this consciousness that currently just occupied this state, or I'm currently occupying this state, this role, this identity where I explain this stuff to you guys. So no matter if you're rich or poor or sad or broke or happy, right? Those are states. You occupy them. So the world is a mirror magnifying all that I am, your consciousness, your awareness, your imagination, conscious of being. Stop trying to change the world since it's only the mirror. And I'm sure you know this quote. Man's attempt to change the world by force is as fruitless as breaking a mirror in hope of changing his face. Leave the mirror and change your face. Leave the world alone and change your conceptions of yourself. The reflection will be satisfactory. Why? Because it has to. Your life has to reflect back who you are. You don't get what you want, you get who you are. So freedom or imprisonment, satisfaction or frustration can only be differentiated by the consciousness of being. right? So when you're unconscious and unaware and you identify yourself with when you step into unloving and undesirable states, it is still working. This principle is still working. This mirror is still working. So don't be confused why your circumstances in life are shitty. That is because you are not understanding that, and you are not practicing that, and you are not applying this consciously and shift into a state that you want to occupy, where you are this person that you want to be. If it is having your own business, if it's having a creative job, if it's having the relationship you want with whomever it is, if it's living in a new city, if it's being successful. I think I mentioned this before, but you get the point, right? It is just a state, always existing, and you decide if you move into it, stay there, and then move out to it into another state because you don't like it any longer, you want to be something else, do something else. The things seen are temporal, while the things unseen are eternal. And that is actually a very great explanation. I just realized that you can like imprint on your mind and realize and remember why circumstances don't matter. Because the things seen, the things you experience, they are temporal. This is not set in stone. I made a video about circumstances. I will link this here. You should also check this out. But the things you do not see, the things within your imagination, you can always imagine them. They are always there for you. And they are eternal. They are always there, just waiting for you to be occupied. Try it before you pass judgment upon it. Very important to apply it and try it. I know it doesn't make sense. I agree with that, basically. But it will prove itself in performance, and then it will not matter what the world thinks. If there is evidence for a thing, does it really matter what someone else thinks about it? I encourage you to try it, for if you do, you will not fail. So don't care about if your friends believe this, don't care about if your family believes this, don't care about if actually you first of all believe this, because it proves itself to the testing. You don't have to, in order to get results, trust that this works. Do it, and then it proves itself through the testing, and you will see the results, and therefore you will understand that this is real, that imagining creates reality. This is the key point, right? And it creates, and life reflects back your chosen state of consciousness. To now close the circle that we started with, the name of this video today, right? Your life reflects your chosen state of consciousness. So start to choose your states wisely. Start to realize that any given state, any given identity, any given self-concept, any given role, any given character that you play in this game of life is waiting for you to be occupied. So get clear on who you want to be, and therefore then be this character. Identify with it, imagine it, fuse with it, make it alive, and then experience it. That is how it works. So thank you very much for watching, guys. If you have questions about this, leave them in the comments down below. By now, I assume and I hope that you understand now more about this state and more about how your life reflects this and why this is so important. So yeah, that's it for this video. See you in the next video. Bye, guys.